G'day humans, Chris Dead here. It's just at the end of day 6, so I thought I'd do a little bit of an update. Things going pretty well. Had a pretty slow, uneventful day, which is good. I tried to do some work today, so I hadn't really achieved much work-wise prior to today, and my goal was to, well, it's not my goal, my reality is that I have to do a fair bit of work while I'm on this trip. I've still got certain objectives to meet and obligations to meet, so I really wanted to get some work done today, but I had kind of a slow start. We've kind of tossed and turned, just didn't sleep. Sorry, I slept all right, but just didn't get up, and then which is fine, and then just had a late buffet breakfast, and then my youngest one, I don't know if he's seen a YouTube video or something, but he's just like all of a sudden he's just like super into the gym. He wants to go do weights. I'm like, just on and on about it. So I was all right, I'll take you up there. So we went up there and did a little mini workout and did some squash. There's a squash court here, which is bizarre, but awesome. Then got back and tried to work. I ended up sitting here from like 10 till 3 on the computer, just trying to achieve stuff, and I wasn't very efficient, but I did get some writing done and managed to do a review and a bunch of emails and stuff like that. So I started looking, instead of doing more work, which I was supposed to do, started looking up at Hanoi and places to stay there and that. So got distracted a little bit too easily. But feeling pretty good, and I think the kids still had a pretty relaxing and chill day. At the end at 3 o'clock I just went, that does it. Went down, had a swim, and took my youngest for a couple of, there's like the water kind of pours over the reef here and at low tide and just creates this like rapid, like this 200 metre long rapid. So I took him down there and he floated down that, which was really cool, and then spent some time in the pool with my daughter, and then oldest son's got a bit of an ear infection, and so I prepared for ear infections by bringing some Sofradex. Because being a surfer, I've had many ear issues over the years. So I know what to do, but he's got one, and so then I thought I didn't bring any like aqua ear plugs, like just to block water from getting into his ear so that he can still swim and stuff. So we went and got a push bike, and me and him rode out into town and into the village in a push bike and just rode around with the locals, and eventually found a chemist, and eventually found a chemist that had aqua earplugs and some antibiotics, some amoxicillin. And kind of like rode back with him from that, so that was really, really cool. That was really like a bit of kind of off the beaten path travelling with my oldest son, and you know, it was pretty simple. We're just riding a push bike through, you know, Bali suburbs, but still he wouldn't have done anything like that before, so that's cool. So yeah, thought I might also just kind of reflect on one of the previous times I was in Bali. So as I mentioned, I'd done a lot of travelling, and this big trip that we did, me and my wife, when we were 22, we went to all these countries, and there's quite a number of times on that trip where we were pretty lucky to survive. Just fate was on our side. And one of those was we were in Bali. So we were staying in Seminyak, and we had a free shuttle bus that would take you into Kuta. So we kind of lounged out there all day, and being that we were young, we would then go into Kuta in the evening and and just get some free drink or get some cheap drinks and look at some shops and muck around and come back. Anyway, we'd been gone for 17 and a half months, almost 18 months at that point, and it was my brother's 21st birthday on the Saturday night, and we were supposed to get back into town on the Tuesday night. So when we'd originally booked it many months earlier, the party wasn't organised. And we already missed so much. So we decided to move the flight. So, we moved the flight forward to the Friday. And every kind of night we were getting this shuttle bus into Kuta, not every night, but most nights. And he'd pick us up at 11 o'clock from this little alleyway. And us and other people that were staying at our hotel, because that was the last shuttle. So the shuttle's going kind of every hour, but the last one was 11 o'clock at night. And it'll take you back to the place in Seminyak. And that's what we would get. The last shuttle out. Anyway, so we ended up moving the flight forward and getting on a flight on a Friday night. I think it was a Garuda. I think it might have been a Red Eye, it was overnight. Anyway, so we got in on a Saturday. I remember the first thing I did was just race straight down to the local and go for a surf. I hadn't surfed for so long. And I remember getting a schnitzel burger from my favourite schnitzel burger joint. And then we kind of just went back to Mum and Dad's place, which is where the 21st was, my brother's 21st. And got ready and went to the party. Now, if we'd been in Bali still, like we were supposed to be, I imagine on a Saturday night, it's fairly likely that we would have gone into Kuta and we would have got picked up at 11 o'clock in that little alleyway. Now, that little alleyway was next to the Sari Club, and at 11:05 that Saturday night, it blew up. And I remember seeing the news reports, and the last day before we left, we were in that alleyway because that's where we get picked up. And because we were getting picked up in that alleyway quite regularly, there's a guy who sold leather jackets in that alleyway, and so I had organised for him to pick up to get this leather jacket made for me, and I'd picked it up the night beforehand, knowing that we were leaving early. And I remember the news report going down the alleyway, and I could see the leather jacket stand, which is where I was at 11 o'clock the night before, just obliterated, and the guy was dead. And yeah, so if not for just that small decision and twist of fate, I think I would have been standing there. I think we would have been standing there when that bomb went off. It's highly likely. And it was interesting because when we were cleaning out the house after the fire, everything was ruined, and there was just like, some things you can try and save. And some things are just not worth it, you just got to throw out. Most things, 95% of it we threw out. But one of the things I found was that leather jacket, which still fits. So I kept that, and I'm going to get that cleaned up and hopefully wear it, because I didn't realise I still had it. Anyway, so there's a little yarn from one of the previous travel journeys I went on. I'll share some more.